Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And this video is very XRP centric, very Ripple centric, very digital dollar CBDC centric. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and let me share that with you. Somebody sent me a direct message on Twitter, and it read, Ripple's really, something's happening because they list this new business entity in Wyoming, the current crypto-friendliest state in the US. The entity is called the Ripple Market Way LLC. And then Ripple's CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, filed this motion to dismiss the SEC lawsuit because of, well, plain and simple truth. As it's stated, there is just a huge amount of regulatory overreach from the SEC. And the SEC fails to recognize the realities of XRP, the market, and Ripple's business. It's just so clear now. And they have even gone as far as amending their complaint because, well, obviously they didn't get it right in the first place, and that tells a lot. And then we have Chris Larson. As I reported to you all on Twitter, the San Francisco Chronicle had an article that quoted Mr. Larson as saying that San Francisco remains the best place to do business for Ripple. Now, I know some of you might ask yourself, well, maybe he was just saying that to be politically correct. Yeah, possibly. But also, too, I think that you wouldn't just change your horse in the middle of the stream when right now there is so much Ripple under the microscope. And Ripple dropped this huge bombshell today. They are piloting a private ledger for central banks that are launching the central bank digital currencies. What? Private? A ledger that has transaction privacy, not public? Yes. Why? Because that's what the banks want. And I can show you in a final Auber report. It's a CBDC project study paper that was a joint distributed ledger project of the digital currencies between the Arabian Monetary Authority and the Central Bank of the UAE. On page 36 of 81 pages, it says there that Ripple and Stellar were ruled out because interbank payments need to be private, and they need to have this sense and architecture that is permissioned. So therefore, R3 Corda, Hyperledger, and the JPM Quorum were the only three that made the shortlist. Well, what exactly does that mean now? Just a few hours ago, I was a guest on the Chain channel, and we had that topic as a discussion. And Jeff, who usually sits in the chair with Chip, was on a business trip, so I was able to sit in. And time always flies. We talked for well over an hour discussing that article that Mr. James Wallace of Ripple X, who's now working under Monica Long, wrote and released today, and I think really has the world a little surprised. But I can tell you, for me, it was the best kind of news I could wake up to. The CBDC private ledger meets even the highest security standards for central banks, allowing for complete sovereignty. That's really what they want. And the ability to customize based on their own unique privacy and policy requirements. Of course, you must listen to your customer. You must listen in order to be successful. And in the article, Mr. Wallace says Ripple is currently engaged with central banks around the world, making the assessments on exactly how they can make the ledger work to achieve what they want to achieve. And Tony from Thinking Crypto, his timing with the interview that he had with Chris Giancarlo was impeccable. This is a deep dive in the digital dollar project. And the US has gone from, well, not sure what to do about 18 months ago to now, this is a reality that needs to be accelerated. And what he says is that the United States has this window to be a model for a global standard. And what he emphasized, and I was so happy to hear this, is that he wants to see it build in a level of privacy. And no, I'm not talking about privacy for the banks, but a privacy by choice in the design to protect the public's privacy. So if he builds what he wants to build, I think it's going to be what he calls a champion model. And the whole rest of the world can use that as a standard. I loved this. And this interview never got bored. And as always, Tony is just such a professional. So Ripple's CTO had many very good tweets on this subject today. And no, I'm not talking about the photo he uploaded. Oh, when Minus Wells said he was the sexiest man alive. And then David uploaded this photo. I love his sense of humor. I really, really love his sense of humor. Sometimes this space is so incredibly serious, right? And it should be. We're talking about people's money. But I love a little humor. I'm not such a funny person myself. So when I see someone like David, he really does make me laugh. But what I want to point out is that I know some of you feel a little bit disappointed that Ripple's, going to build a walled garden. Well, I guess I say thank goodness that they listened to what is probably the largest client out there globally, and that's the central banks. And XRP can transact on private ledgers. Let me just read you the one tweet that really stuck out for me. XRP can transact on private ledgers just as non-XRP transacts on XRP ledger. And what is a perfect example is like with Flare now. We have Flare that is on the XRP ledger, but they are unleashing that value for XLM, for Litecoin, for Dogecoin. So that's the beauty of this ledger. And also this gives issuers who are not ready to transact on a public blockchain to still interoperate with XRP. So if you want to interoperate with XRP, but you held back before because it was on a public ledger, you can now do it without anybody seeing. I'm telling you, I'm thrilled because it just seems to have put XRP into a use case now that doesn't have to be out there in the open for everybody to scrutinize. Okay, I'm going to jump to a new subject quickly, and that is Hubert. Hubert is joining me tomorrow. He is from XRPL Labs, and he's going to talk about NFTs. And I can't wait because I know I'm not jumping in on these NFTs just because they're the thing to talk about. Trust me, I've had this request out to him since how long? More than 3 weeks ago. And he confirmed, and then it was in my court to get some questions together. And, just things take time. It's not like you can, I just can't, do things on a dime like some of these big companies do. They can change their way so quickly. I'm a little bit more set in my ways. And then yesterday, I should have known, I asked Thomas Silkjar, I said, gosh, this is a beautiful capture. It's from the XRP Ledger on February 22nd. And I said, well, gosh, can't we make an NFT of this? I didn't know, but he's already taken a couple of those transactions caught graphically. And this one is just so beautiful with the color. And he has listed them on Rarible. and they're up for auction, and it's a place that you can bid for those images. I just really love this. I love this part of how the space is shaping up. And then if you want to have a sneak peek, it's not done yet. It's not done yet, but at XRP Shine is building a digital download, what is it? Digital download marketplace. Yeah. For a NFT creation section. I can't wait to see the NFT creation service. That is going to open up so many great new side gigs, full-time gigs, gigs in general that can put the control of people's intellectual property back in their hands, and they don't have to share it with publishers or with galleries or with retailers. Or I love it. Yeah, I just think it's really phenomenal. And then please don't miss John Deaton's video. All I can say is 100% sure you must see it. I tried to pull out a clip, and I seriously, two reasons why I didn't. One, I couldn't find the perfect, there's not like just one perfect clip. The whole video is good. And secondly, I thought, oh, if I share any of this, you might get the sense that you've seen it already. No, you have to see it. I thought to myself when I saw this, 29 minutes? You gotta be kidding, John. Are you serious? It flies. It's so good. Yeah. I think all of you know that Mr. Deaton is the attorney that brought the suit against the SEC, which has a full intention of becoming a class action suit. And what I was thinking also is, even if the Ripple case is thrown out or there's a settlement, I don't want John to drop this case, because this case stands on its own no matter what happens with the claim that the SEC has made against Ripple. This SEC, which is supposed to protect retail investors, has failed miserably. And think about all the people that own the MoneyGram stock, right? I mean, don't get me going. In fact, just watch John's video. You're going to get really fired up, and you'll have a couple of, more than a couple of, you're going to have a lot of laughs too. I'm telling you, these attorneys, they have, he and Jeremy are in the wrong business. Their calling was definitely to be on YouTube in front of an audience communicating. Oh gosh, it's so good. All right, everybody, let's jump to a little fluff. So this is Naoko Ken. She is a singer-songwriter from not only the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, but even still today at the age of 67, she is still very much an entertainer, and very, very, she's popular. But okay, now brace yourself. Brace yourself. This is a picture of her with no makeup. She uploaded this on the 23rd. It's had more than 2.5 million people view it. She did I'm over 60. This is how I do my makeup. And then she did it in a fast mode. Now just look, okay? I know it's a little scary. That's okay. She'll understand, because she's not only just doing this, which I really think, wow, you have to have a lot of guts to do this, but she also is representing a very high-end makeup line called Shiseido. And so this is kind of a promotion for Shiseido. Okay, ready? Okay, this is before and this is after. I was amazed with the transformation. Really, I was. She says that she's inspired by Cleopatra for the eyes, for her eyeliner, which is a Shiseido brand. Okay, enough of the girly stuff. Let's go to something that the guys would like. If I haven't lost you, this is an awesome samurai village that has been recreated, and it's something you can walk through. It's near Hiroshima, and it sits on an old port village, a real old port village that once flourished. That community, though, peaked in the 14th century. Eventually, it became buried under sediment from the river that it was built along, and I think it was in like somewhere in the early 1900s. It was Taisho period, so it would have been between 1912 and 1926. Could be 23 if my numbers, but I'm in that range. It was discovered. They were doing construction, and it was found that there was this old settlement, and they've pulled lots of really interesting things out of here. You know, they've pulled not only tools but also pottery and just tons of artifacts. And they have then set up this indoor and outdoor exhibit, which is totally interesting for me. I mean, I'm really interested. I'm a history lover, but to actually be able to walk through, you can get a real feel for how everyday life was. I mean, this was, I'm sure, a miso jar, and this is probably, I don't know, could be water, could be sake, because even the sake was used for creating dashi, which is a kind of broth. And all these tools are so cool. And this is an old storehouse. Yeah, and the thatched roofs you can still find in Japan, especially in the countryside. Look at this old cemetery. The thatched roofs are disappearing, not, well, because of cost is one, but also two, the number of craftsmen who dedicated their life, like 10th generation, 15th generation, people who have done these roofs for hundreds of years, passed down the craft from generation to generation. They're disappearing. The craft is disappearing, so it's getting harder and harder to do. And then this is a great shot, really great, like magic light. And then the last one I want to show you is a black and white that looks totally like a Kurosawa film. All right, everybody. Yeah, thanks a lot. Do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.